Hi, this is Rooney Calmera from Island Wealth, and today I'm going to go live for you about the elections of Curacao. As you know, there has been elections in Curacao, and I'm going to show you my screen right now. This is our new president, premier, and he is already currently sitting as the premier of Curacao. We don't have a president. We have a governor who's appointed by the Queen, the King of the Netherlands. As you know, Curacao is part of the Dutch Kingdom, and we are an autonomous country in the region. And this episode is about how an economist, I'm an economist, would advise the politician, the new cabinet, based on figures. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities for Curacao? So this is also for the opposition, but this is also for the new cabinet, a landslide with 13 votes, 13 seats out of the 21 seats. So these people, they have the majority of the parliament. This is in Dutch. This is a historical win for the party MFK at the Curacao elections. The elections just happened. So how would an economist look at this? How would an economist look at this? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So as you know, Island Wealth, we care about the island wealth, the wealth of the nation, the wealth of the people. And we want people to become rich, wealthy. We don't want people to become poor, to stay poor. We want Curacao to thrive. So that's why I decided to, I decided to go live and talk about a couple of figures. And you could be asking me questions also. I'm going in English because English is my language that I communicate on Island Wealth, and I also want the people from outside to see potential. I will be having these kind of things. I will be having showing my macroeconomic model for Curacao. And if you are an investor, if you want to invest in the Caribbean, in Curacao, you can contact me because I have these macroeconomic models for the Eastern Caribbean, for Turks and Caicos, Jamaica, Curacao, St. Martin. And this is not the macroeconomic model that the Ministry of Economic Affairs has. That model is Curaliza, but my economic model can do exactly the same, and also we can add it up to the Caribbean perspective. So what I want to show you, this is the first site I want to show you. I want to show you this site here, which is the Central Bureau of Statistics. This is cbs.cw, and this website you will find the latest census data. What is the census? The census is a survey done by the Central Bureau of Statistics, and the survey will collect data. Once every 10 years, the people from the Central Bureau of Statistics go out and they collect data. And you see here, all the tables are at your disposal, and we're going through some of the tables today. You have tables about the employment situation. Let me see that. This is very important. Let me see, going back. The employment situation is there. Let me see. That is the macro model. That's a project that we have just been doing. But you have the employment situation. Let me see if I got it. Yes. Have many screens open. Window. Let me see. we have the employment situation. So we have to restore this page. And we have this employment situation. Let me go back with the screen. And we have this employment situation. We want to show you this employment situation. You see? Bear with me. Yes, we have the employment situation. So what do you see here? You see the employed, unemployed. This is very important. How many people are employed? How many people are unemployed? The employed population by position. So economic position. You have the employed population by means of transportation. So how do they go to work? These are one of the challenges of Curacao, because there are many people going to work through public transportation or taxis or small buses. That means that can be improved with buses, etc. You will see the unemployed population. How many people are unemployed? You will see many tables. So here you can find all the tables about the situation in Curacao. Okay? So you have a census, and when you have a census, basically what you can do is you can be collecting the data and you can be making your assumptions based on data. So I'm going to show you some tables, and I will not be able to show you all the tables, but I will be showing you the tables where you see basically what is happening on Curacao. And that is very important for me and also for you as a politician. So that's the first sheet. So what do we have here? We have here the unemployment rate. This is the situation in 2023. And what do you see here? You see here, and this data can be collected, can be downloaded by yourself. You see here that the unemployment rate between 15 and 19, those people are basically at school, but the unemployment rate is, the total unemployment rate is 21.5%. So the youth is unemployed. The youth is basically unemployed. 1/5 of the youth is unemployed. And unemployed means they want to work, but they cannot work. They can't find a job. That's basically unemployed. You want to work, you are not on school, but you cannot find a job. That is 21%. That is a lot. So the first thing to the new cabinet is we need to find jobs where people, the young talent, because the people are your young talent, that they don't end up on the streets, they don't end up in the jail, they don't end up in drugs, but they end up in a job where they can learn and use their skills. The unemployment on the youth, that is one of the top things that we need to address. What else? If you move further, you say 20 to 24, you see the unemployment still high. It drops at 12.2%. So one of the 10 people between 20 and 24 is unemployed. They want to work, but they cannot work. Also, for this category, you see here, orange. I'm not putting it red yet, but orange is basically bad. Because these things, if your economy is driving right now, is running full, right now with tourism, and I will show you that economy in a while, then you should have this youth unemployment become very, very low, because people, there are jobs, there should be jobs. This means that your people, probably they are not trained well enough to work in your tourism business. Because if tourism is running, the revenue per available room, the daily average rate are going up, tourism is going to grow, is growing 19%. Your stay over tourism and your cruise tourism, that means that this needs to go down, because your people should have employed. This should be in a great economy running full steam. There, you should not be able to get these youth, because they will get a job right away. So you see the total unemployment rate, it is on average 7%. That's almost one of the 10 people that want to work, they don't have a job. And they should drop, because these people are paying premiums, they are paying your taxes and everything. If this stays low, if this stays high, you will have problems with your economy, because less people are earning a living. If you want to continue and you say the duration of unemployment, so how long are these people unemployed? Then you look at another table. This is a table that shows you exactly unemployed population, duration on unemployment. So how long are these people unemployed? How long are these people unemployed? Right? That is, let me see, we go here. How long are these people unemployed? So you see here, 4 to 6 months, from 4 to 6 months. This is temporary unemployment. And let me just freeze this, and let me just make this a little bit smaller. So 4 to 6 months, that is about 600 people. 4 to 6 months, 600 people, 663 people in 2023 are 4 to 6 months unemployed. From the 50, this is 5,000 people, from the 5,000 people, total 5,000 people that were unemployed, there is 663 unemployed. 4 to 6 months. That's short. They will find a job. But look at this, less than 1 month. So the moment you take these things up, longer than 12 months. So these are the people that are structurally, let's say, structurally for long term unemployed. If I count these are 3,705. So if I add all these things together, sum, and we say longer than 12 months, 1 to 3 months, 7 to 9 months, 10 to 12 months. So the people more than 1 month. There is a lot of people who cannot get a job. So these are people that cannot find a job right away. This means that there is something wrong with people getting a job. Local people that living here in Curacao getting a job. We should study this. What are the reasons that they cannot get a job? while the tourism sector is booming, running. And I will be just showing you in a while how this is possible while what is happening with the tourism sector. So that's the second thing. The second thing is that the unemployment, there are people that cannot find a job right away. If these people cannot find a job, they will end up in the Social Security. And in the Social Security, there are about 7,000 people right now. So if people cannot find a job right away, your economy is not working. People will not, the employers, they don't hire people fast enough, or these people do not have the right skills that they can be hired right away. So this is also for the education sector. People should have multiple skill set that once they are unemployed, they will get a job within 1 month. So what you want to do is you want to have a lot of people here less than 1 month. Everybody is here less than 1 month, and then a lot of people less than 1 month unemployed. And it should be a target for your social affairs, for your education system, for your Ministry of Economic Development, to make it sure that people are unemployed less than 1 month. And then also these people that are unemployed more than 1 month, they should be contacted to offer jobs. So that is another aspect of the labor market. Now let me show you something about the transportation sector. So if we move to these people and we are collecting right away, because I think that the labor, the population, that is your talent, that is your people that you want to work with. So the next thing is the employed population by means of transportation. So I'm willing to discuss with you, with politicians, with the cabinet, with members of the opposition, all the ministers, Minister of Finance, Minister of Economic Development, Minister of Social Affairs, Minister of Education. And I'm not only open for this for Curacao, but also for all the islands, the 8 islands of the Eastern Caribbean, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica. I can discuss this kind of data with you, run some simulations to see how your policy in the next 4 years towards 2030, how it will affect the wealth of your nation. And that's why I'm doing this. This is not politics. This is just an economist, a senior economist, giving you advice based on the data. Because if you want to increase the wealth of your nation, make your nation rich, wealthy, then I am your partner. If you want to keep your nation or make your nation more poor, I'm not your partner. So let me move next to the next sheet, which is the situation by means of transportation. So what do you see here? I'm going to change this again, and I'm going to fix this. Freeze panes, unfreeze panes, and unfreeze panes, which means that this part will be hold while I'm moving it to the right. So what are these people? These people are employed. So not the unemployed people, but these people are employed. There are 67,000 people out of a population of, I think, 160. We can check that on the Central Bureau of Statistics. So this is very good. 67,000 people working. How do they get to their work on Curacao? First, there are people working at home. I am working at home. So I'm in here, 2,389 people working from home. So the first thing to the new cabinet is how can you facilitate these people working from home? What can you do? Because these people will not be traveling. They will not be traveling on your roads. They are not using your roads. They are only using internet. So can you provide fast internet in all the neighborhoods? Can you provide a deduction that everybody from home has fast internet? Of course, you can deduct it from your business, but can you facilitate this, that all the people working from home, that it is stimulated? It will stimulate your IT sector. It will stimulate your digital economy, and in a while I'm going to work with you on a digital economy, because listen, I'm going to tell you what the biggest digital economy will be. Then you will have people, the small bus. So these are the people, the small bus, and these people are 794. And you have people with public transportation. You see that one? Public transportation. Let me make this another color, orange. And the public transportation you have there, out of the 67,000, there is 6,000. So 1/10 of your working population, 1 out of every 10 people, they are using public transportation. So I want to tell you this. These are people, probably they are female. And look at that. Here, female. Female. More women. Look at this. More women. So out of these 6,000, almost 4,000 people, 2/3 are women. So if you want to do something for the mothers of Curacao, if you want to do something for the people working through public transportation, a mother working with kids, probably. You see here? Because these are the mothers. These are the mothers. 25 to 44. These are the mothers. I'm just focusing on the mothers right now. Look at how many mothers are there. Female. And these are the kids going to school that work. Probably these are the young kids not going to school, but they are working. Because we are looking only at the employed people. So these are all the people, if you want to do something for the women. If you say, for instance, women having a work and going through public transportation will get a deduction. Somewhere they will get a deduction out of their premiums that they're paying, something. We're going to help them. Then you're going to make a specific case for all these people. Not only women, but also women and men. They are working and they're going with the public transportation. This means these people don't have a car. They are using small public transportation, or they're using the taxis to get there. You will get a huge part, and this will help these people get to work. If you are stimulating the public transportation, if you are having a public transportation plan where, let's say, 90% of the population should get to their work within 30 minutes and should get every, say, 10 minutes they should be able to get a bus. Imagine that. Let me go to speak to you. If imagine you have a public policy where you say everybody running through public transportation and the small buses, they will be able to access a bus within 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes there is a bus on 90% or 95% of Curacao. Imagine that. You are facilitating people to get to work in the morning between 7 to 9. You will have a public transportation or a transportation with a small bus. Within 10 minutes, you should be able to get it. 95% of the population. Then you will help the businesses on Curacao, because the businesses can rely on public transportation, can rely on the small bus transportation, so that the working population, either the children, not the children, but the people who are working between 15 and 24, or the whole population who needs it, can get to work. That is a smart nation with smart decisions. And you will help the poor people, because this is targeted on public transportation. If you want to learn more, have more insights in how this can impact the productivity, the costs, the purchasing power, then contact me, because we can get deeper into this scenario. So you see here that there are a lot of opportunities to use data to get to insights. So what else? If we have a car. Let me look at this, and we want people with a car as a driver. So there are, you see that one? There are probably 46,831 people who are in a car, truck, van as a driver. So these are the people who go to work, who are employed, and they go with their own car. If you want to help these people, how can you help these people? How can you facilitate these people? How can you get these people out of their cars, maybe in public transportation? Because if you have a traffic jam, that means that 46,831 people on a daily basis from Monday through Sunday need to go to their work. And you will get a traffic jam if all these people move simultaneously to Caracas Bay, to your roads, etc. It will get a pollution. How can you manage that these people get by a nice system of public transportation, that they say half of these people should be able to get through public transportation? Because in the Netherlands, this is possible. In the Netherlands, people go by train, go by bus, they rely on a bus. So if we are a smart nation, with data scientists like me, with people understanding Python, understanding automation, understanding artificial intelligence, then this should be possible, because we can do this. So that's how you do it. Now, let me see the food. This is a little bit concerning for me, because these people are going to work by foot. Let me put this thing, I want to put this to red. Because there are apparently 2,368 people who go to work by foot. What is this? How is this possible? These people are the poorest. We have to take these people out of this poverty. They don't have a car, they have their energy, and if they go by foot, when they get to their job, they will be tired. They cannot be productive. So why are these people going by foot? Is it because they are close, or are they walking? How is this possible? How is this possible? These are the poorest people. I want this thing to be by the zones. So I want to see which neighborhoods are in there. I will contact Central Bureau of Statistics right away and ask them, give me not the names of these people, but give me the neighborhoods. What are the neighborhoods these people come from? Because we also have, the census will give you a breakdown of the neighborhoods. So do you see how looking at the data will give you a great insights of what is happening, how you can combat poverty. So now let me look at the next screen, and this is the neighborhoods. So I'm telling you all the indicators in the census, you can check them by the neighborhoods, and we can make, with automation, with graphs, we can make these a lot of nice graphs out of this, and we can study this for you. It can be for Curacao, but it can be all the islands in the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, all the islands like Turks and Caicos, also Jamaica, Curacao, St. Martin. Those are 12 islands that we can provide information and these insights. So here you see the number of households with their average household size. What does this tell you? This tells you that there are a lot of households with 2.3 persons, basically. And then here in here, you see Lagoon. Lagoon is probably a neighborhood that has more people living in a condition where there are more people. So why do I see that? I see on average 2, 2, 2, 2, and then suddenly I see a 3. That means their average household size is larger than the average, because the average is 2.5. You see that? That's the average, 2.5. So if you are above the 2.5, which is the total, then something is happening there. So let's look at the average, the highest, the households that have more people living there. So here you see again one, orange, Mahai. Now Mahai is a neighborhood. Mahai is a rich neighborhood. So this is a little bit strange. Why are there so many people? The people per household. This is a strange thing. I wouldn't expect this. And an Oostpunt is another one, which is a high. Look at this. So apparently there are less households there and more people. And then we have Parera. So there are apparently some households where there are more people living on average. You see that? So we need to check this. Why is this? Maybe this doesn't mean anything, because this Spanish word is one of the richest households. But we need to check this. What does this mean? Curacao. So there are less households and there are people in there. Something is strange there. This is how you would look at a household. So how many households are there? There are 60,000 households. In the past I saw about 50,000 households. In the past, I think it was 2010 or 2013. In that census, there were less households. So this is how you would look. How many households are there? How many households do we need to make wealthy? Those are 60,000 households. So that is another aspect. Now let's move to two things. I want to move to two things, and this is diversification. Diversification means moving beyond tourism. There are many, many islands. All the 12 islands that I'm advising, they are tourism based in the Caribbean. And I'm building my framework of economic analysis, investment analysis, because I also help investors. I'm building my framework for the 57 islands in the world. So first Caribbean, and then we move to other islands. And then we also want to tell those islands what is happening in the United States, what is happening in Europe, what is happening with the BRICS. So if you want to know more about that, I want to tell you something about an offer that I have. And the offer is basically that we are creating an economic model for USA. So go to usa.macro-investment-model. So USA-macro-investment-model. And then in 16 weeks, you will be talking about the United States economy, BRICS economy, and it will affect your nation. It will affect a nation like Curacao, because if you are a politician, a minister, a cabinet member, opposition, and you are in that experience, 60-week experience, here you see the scan, what you will learn is what is happening with the United States, with the BRICS, that impacts your country, that impacts unemployment, employment, the wealth of your island. This is not only for Curacao, but for all the Caribbean islands, especially the islands, the 12 islands, where 8 of them are the Eastern Caribbean. They are also in Curacao, but the Eastern Caribbean islands, the 8th one, Turks and Caicos, Curacao, St. Martin. If you are an investor, a policy advisor, a minister, a secretary general, and you want to know more, whether you are in the economic development department, in the education department, in the Ministry of Finance, you can learn from this. And I'm going to show you right away what we have been building. And you have been building this database, and in this database you see the BRICS data. And what are the BRICS? Brazil, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Iran, Russia, South Africa, United Arab Emirates. These are all the data that we have about the BRICS, about the information sector, about all kinds of data that are relevant for Curacao. Why are they relevant for Curacao? Because you don't want to be only dependent on the United States. You want to be trading with the BRICS. You want to be having people working in your business, in your island, and they are focused on the BRICS, on delivering value to the BRICS. Okay, so you see here, this is the BRICS. And this is the data about the BRICS. I have been working on showing you what is the main business that I would advise governments to diversify in. And it is not what you believe. It is not tourism, it is not agriculture, it is not construction, it is nothing in that regard. It is exactly what you have not been looking at. It's not what you have been looking at. And let me show you right away what it is. It is Bitcoin. It is Bitcoin. So you should diversify as a country in Bitcoin. Why? First of all, United States of America is one of the countries that is now focusing on Bitcoin. Their economy is based on gold, and the dollar is on top of gold. In 1971, till 1971, the dollar was pegged to the gold that for $35, you could get 1 ounce of gold. It used to be $20, so you give $20 and you get 1 ounce of gold. Now, United States is thinking about, instead of gold, they have gold in their central bank, they have gold in Fort Knox. Curacao has gold, but Curacao also have the United States bonds, and Curacao sold 1/3 of its gold. So the people from Curacao, the new cabinet, you know that Curacao sold 1/3 of its gold because the Inya debacle. The Inya is just a pension fund, and because to save that pension fund with, I think, 30,000 people paying pensions, the central bank decided to sell its gold and buy US treasuries, because the US treasuries will give you a yield, will give you a return, and with the return, the profit, they can pay the Inya during the next 50 years. The United States, the bonds that we bought as Curacao, the United States themselves is loaded with debt. That's the second thing I want to advise you. Loaded with debt, $36 trillion of debt. The debt to GDP is 129%. And I'm telling you, as an economist, when countries have a high debt to GDP, that is debt divided by GDP, by the total income, you will end up in trouble. It is not sustainable. So there are many people, economists, global economists, studying it, very smart people, smarter than me. I'm smart, but smarter than me. They are looking at the debt and they're saying it is not sustainable. And you see all kinds of things happening in the bond market with the interest rate of the 10-year bond, etc. So the people at the central bank of Curacao and St. Martin, the people advising the government of Curacao, the people advising the Minister of Finance, Mr. Minister of Finance, hi Minister of Finance, you got 18,000 votes during the last election. Congratulations. We didn't meet yet. I'm giving you some advice here. Make sure that just like the United States of America, you are friendly for the Bitcoin community, because Bitcoin is the new hard money. So Curacao, how can Curacao diversify? Let me just go there right away. So why would you diversify? And let's look at this Bitcoin for an instance. Bitcoin is $88,000. It was $83,000. People are investing in this. There is a bond market. You will see it soon. You will see it soon, because I will show you how it is exactly done. So there is a way to get capital for the bank, from the banks, from the local bank, Maduro and Curiel's bank, Banco di Caribe, all those banks. But there is also a new way to get capital from outside. And this is the global market, which is trading 24/7, 365 days per year. So if I need a loan, I can go to the bank, local bank, and have a loan, pay 5%. But if I need cash, I can also sell my services to the world get paid in Bitcoin, and then I have capital. I can put that capital somewhere else and invest in another business that will use my capital, which is Bitcoin, to do that. So it is not only about stocks, about loans with banks. It is a new play game. How big is it? Look at this. When you look at the market cap, you will see the market cap is the total unit times the price. So if you have a market cap of Tesla stocks, it means the number of outstanding Tesla stocks times the price. The market cap of Bitcoin is 1.7 trillion US dollars. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? So the cabinet, Mr. Pisas, Mr. Silvania. I'm an economist. I'm not a politician. I'm just your advisor right now for free in this 1 hour. If you have an economy of $2.5 billion, which is the economy of Curacao, then it would be nice, it would be smart to understand the business case of the 1.7 trillion Bitcoin economy. That is the global economy, and if you can get just 1%, or if you can get a part of that, those people who own Bitcoin to stay in Curacao, to trade in Curacao, you will be diversifying the economy away from tourism, because Bitcoin has nothing to do with tourism, and Bitcoin is financial services, is software development, is decentralized finance. The artificial intelligent agents, they will be using Bitcoin to transact, because one Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million sats. And if I am an IT, an artificial intelligent agent, I will be having a wallet. And as a matter of fact, it is already possible. And I'm investing in that business with the knowledge. And please contact me and we can discuss it. We will create a project, a training project where I'm going to train your people, bring other external experts, bring local experts from Curacao, and we can give you advice and we can brainstorm with you strategically. So if I am an artificial intelligent agent and I need to transact, to ask another agent a problem, a question, but that agent is specialized in that area, I can tell that agent, as an artificial intelligent agent, I am a software program, I can tell that agent, listen, I want you to calculate this for me. That agent will send me, say, okay, this, I can calculate it for you, but it will cost you, let's say it will cost you $1. And $1 right now, let's say it's about 1,000 sats. So $1 US is 1,000 sats. When the price is $100,000, $1 is 1,000 sats. That agent will tell me it will cost you 1,000 sats. I have a wallet and I can just say, okay, send me the invoice. Instantly that agent will create that invoice for me. I am another agent, I will pay that invoice, and that agent, then I will say, do it, please give me the response about this topic. That agent will perform its calculations, send me that information, boom, and I can continue with my workflow. So that is the world. Do you understand? It means that now you are diversified into artificial intelligence from Curacao or from the Caribbean. You are diversified away from tourism. Maybe it is even on top of tourism. It's a total new sector. You have 1.7 trillion US dollars in that sector, right? It's growing at a high speed. It's growing. Let me look at the market cap, 1.7 trillion, and look at what it was before. It was just 119 billion in 2017, and now look at this. This is going to eat the gold. It's going to eat gold because gold has a market cap about 15 trillion. So, do you understand what we're working? So this is free advice, but it is strategic. And if Curacao, my beloved country, doesn't listen to this, people, you are out there. You are all islands in the Caribbean. Follow what is happening in the United States, and please contact me. You can contact me by clicking on the offer. And when you click on the offer that I just showed you, you will be experiencing the BRICS, United States. You will be experiencing what's happening with the United States economy, and we will touch upon this topic. So the experience I just gave you, I'm going to give you again. The experience I just gave you, it is going to be about the United States economy, but we will be discussing about the decline of the United States economy. We will be showing all the data, showing the data of the BRICS, and just go to bit.ly/USA-macro-investment-model, and then you will be able to understand what is happening. Curacao, I invite you also to do this, of course, but this is what we're talking about. Okay, so going back, again, this is Bitcoin. This is the data. This is, Bitcoin is the top, and this is what is happening. Let's look at the log. The log. So Bitcoin is very, very volatile. It's volatile, meaning it's going up, up, down, and people are afraid of that. But look at the log. The log will show you a straight line up, and the log is just, let me look at the log of the price. The log of the price means when you put a logarithmic on the y-axis, you will see 10. Logarithmic is basically 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, and then you will see the ease of it. It's a smooth line up. So this will continue going up. Now, if you want to know that, if you want to know about gold and Bitcoin, and you want to diversify, this is the last thing that I'm going to show you today. Then you need to be able to understand the global world that we are in. So again, this is for Curacao. This is for the last cabinet that sat, that won. And now I'm going to give you some advice. And the advice is just showing you what is happening and what are the challenges and opportunities for Curacao in this world. So, giving you the general perspective of the world. I have done this many times for many countries. And I just want to give you, as a cabinet member, as a member of parliament, you have 13 seats, you have the sole majority, and you can run the country of Curacao in the next 4 years. What's happening in the world? There is a global capital market of 900 trillion US dollars. This is a model, this is a Bitcoin model, and you see that the global economy consists of 300 trillion of debt, bonds. So Curacao bought US bonds, sold gold, which is more scarce than bonds, and the Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin, this is also for the people from St. Martin, sold gold and bought bonds. How much bonds are there in the world? And bonds is just like a loan from the government, a government or a private sector company, but in this case it's the private sector, it is the government sector, and they have a loan and they give you 5%. Now the central bank did this. How much bonds are there in the world? 300 trillion. 300 trillion. United States has 36 trillion in bonds and all kinds of loans. 36 trillion, and this year they got 9.2 trillion of bonds that needs to be renewed. 25% of their total bond portfolio. Look at my LinkedIn, look at all these episodes, look at our analysis, and you will see that. So if you have this amount of bonds, that means that there is something happening with the bond, with the yield, and with everything. Japan, you need to study this. Bonds is not a good way. Even the United States bonds are not a good way to put your currency in. Japan, China is dumping, is not renewing the bonds. So the number of bonds of bondholder of China reinvesting their money in US bonds is going down. So China is buying gold and other stuff and Bitcoin. Now, real estate, 330 trillion. So if you to see the total value of your real estate, which is villas, commercial real estate, 330 trillion in the world. Equity, all the stocks, 115 trillion. And then art, 18 trillion. And now you have gold, 16 trillion. And the Bitcoin, 2 trillion. So, Curacao, do you understand that you can be diversifying in Bitcoin? And by diversifying in Bitcoin, you will be tapping into the new internet of money, the new internet of value. I can transact value with you right away. I can send, if I had it, 1 billion US dollars right away to Michael Saylor, and Michael Saylor can send it right away to Jeff Booth, and Jeff Booth can send it right away to Lynn Alden. We are all connected, and we are all in one Bitcoin world. You are not yet. Why are we in? We are in because this is the new internet. Don't let anybody tell you about this is scarce, this is scary, this is bad. There are already countries in the world like El Salvador, Bhutan, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, right? These countries, politicians travel to them, but you should also talk to those people. I advise you to eventually consider talking with those people. What are you doing with Bitcoin? Because as a small island nation, we, Curacao, can be one of the first islands in the Caribbean that invest in Bitcoin. If you want to know more about that, calculations, contact me. So here you see this, and you see already what is happening. Now with this Bitcoin model, what you can do is you can have different scenarios, and when you have this different scenarios, and you can have different strategies to make your people wealthy. to make your people happy. So how does it work? It works that this is a base case where Bitcoin starts growing with 75%. And remember, in 2024, it grew already with, I think, 130%. So this 175% is very low. And then imagine the low, it grows to 25%. So it doesn't grow constantly with 75%. It grows less, but it keeps growing. And imagine you have, that's what they call bull case. You can also have a bear case where it drops. We can run these scenarios. And imagine you then have an indebted nation like Curacao. And in that indebted nation like Curacao, you start with a situation with the debt of Curacao. You start with a revenue of $1 billion US dollars, which is basically what Curacao has. Expenditures, $1 billion. You start with a debt of $3 billion US dollars. You start with a cost of debt of 3%, and you start with your gold of 85%, and you have equity, but you don't have any equities as Curacao, very equities. The equities will be in your public companies. And the strategy is with your revenue, you don't give all your revenue to the people, but part of the revenue, 1/3, say, you give it to reduce the debt, 1/3 you invest in Bitcoin, and 1/3 you do different good things. Imagine that strategy. That is called a BTC 10%, because 10% of your surplus you will invest in there. You can also have a BTC Maxi strategy where you invest more. Double Maxi, triple Maxi. In the case of BTC 10%, what you see here is the balance sheet. So you would say this is how given the growth of the BTC that we just saw, 75%, etc., starting at 83, we can also make it 87. Started at 87 US dollars, going to 80,000. You see here 87,000. Then the value of Bitcoin can be, in that scenario of the bull case, it will be like this. The price of Bitcoin, 87, 152, 1.5 million, 7.5 million, 21 million. Why would it grow like this? Because this is not a financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. But it could go by this because there is 900 trillion of capital and 300 trillion of debt. They are looking for a safe haven. So you see, we are in the financial services. We are not in the MCB bank. We are not at the Royal Caribbean. We are not at the local banking, but we are at a global perspective in the capital market. Right? If you are a pension fund, if you are an Enya pension fund, if you are an APC pension fund, you can also profit for this because the United States is themselves investing in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin will be a digital asset with a digital asset framework. There are pension funds in the United States who are already buying Bitcoin. So if you are in the Caribbean, if you are in Curacao, wake up, talk to the government. If you are in the government, there are sovereign countries that are using and putting a stockpile of Bitcoin, strategic Bitcoin reserve in their they are holding it. And this is the reason why they are holding it, is because, hey, they already know what is happening around them. So imagine this is a scenario. What will the value of your treasury be? So you see here the treasury, the value of BTC, you have gold, you have equity, and you have bonds. What will the value of your BTC be? It will be, okay, in this scenario of BTC 10%, it will be 1 billion in 2030. Because you started with a debt of 3 trillion, your debt will be continue to grow 7 billion, 5 billion, and then ultimately, if you keep with this BTC 10%, ultimately you will have a positive net worth. What does a positive net worth mean? It means that your assets, the value of your assets, is higher than the value of your debt. So this is a way how you can get out of the debt without going to the Netherlands and loaning more, lending more. You can own Bitcoin, and when the value appreciates, your assets will be higher and your debt will be there, but your net worth, and this is how you become wealthy as a nation, because now you have 13 billion of US dollars that you can invest in your education, that you can invest in your infrastructure, you can loan money and then invest it. That's the strategy. Now imagine, so this will be in 2045. So you have 4 years, but you can do as a new cabinet, you can start with this idea. You can put this idea into our constitution. If you want to change the constitution, change it and make it Bitcoin friendly. And that means for Curacao that all the new governments need to invest in Bitcoin and hold it. Put that into your constitution. Just an advice. I'm not saying what you should do, but I'm just giving you the economic impact of doing that. So if you have the Minister of Finance with 18,000 votes out of the 50, I think it was 50,000 votes, 54%. If you do a Bitcoin Maxi strategy, then you see already that you have the net assets will become positive not in 2045 but in 2040, and you will have 18 billion in assets. Remember, going from a deficit of 3 billion, which you cannot pay, to 18. Now, the Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin are not going to tell you anything of this, because they are traditional economists and they are not looking at investments and what they're telling. They are very smart people, but they will only be telling you about gold, about buying bonds, US bonds, but they cannot think out of the box like this. And we are investors and we are looking at all the possibility, and we're looking at what happens in the world, and we care about the island wealth of the nation, right? Island wealth of the people. So if you put a double maxi, you see already that in 2035 your debt, your net worth turns positive. So this is just a couple of strategies that you can run your simulation. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the economy. How is the economy going? I want to show you what the economy is going. So I'm going to show you the macroeconomic model that I created. And this is the macroeconomic model that I created for already 12 islands in the world. So this macroeconomic model, it's, what is it? It is a sheet with all the data. It has a data source of data with all the relevant macroeconomic data. It has, I also have a simulation. It has a simulation sheet where we can put in all the simulations of all these policy measures. We can increase private investment. We can increase the consumption. We can increase the price. If something happens with the United States, we will increase the price because the money will become worthless. The United States dollars will decrease. Curacao guilder or the Caribbean dollar is pegged to that. And then the inflation 6 months later, because we are importing everything from the United States, will come here. Boom. What if an inflation of 50%? What if that happens? Do you think you can continue paying the 400 guilders of the 7,000 people depending on social benefits? Do you think you can print money, or where do you get enough revenues so that you can keep raising that money? So if you have a scenario where you have 400 guilders and inflation is going, let's say 50%, then according to the rule of 72, that means you take the 72 divided by 50. That is what? 1.5. In 1.5 years, your 400 guilders will be worth 200 guilders. So in the case of an inflation of 50%, something can happen. Then in the United States, that going to Curacao, and why would that inflation be there? Because everything which is happening in the United States, because the United States economy is going down, because the China is going up, whatever. We run the simulation. In 1.5 years, a 50% increase in prices in the United States because the dollar becomes worthless, like Argentina, like Venezuela, like Zimbabwe. People won't believe that, but there are many, many people betting on that. I'm not betting on that, but the debt is unsustainable. That means in 1.5 years, if you have 400 guilders monthly given by the government because they tax the people, you will be able to buy only purchasing power of 200 guilders. And after 1.5 years, it will be reduced to, again, 50%, because that's what the rule of 72 will give you. 72 divided by 50, that's about 1.5 years. That is the number of years that your purchasing power will have. So in 3 years, if this happened today, we start with 50% inflation. Then in 3 years, before the cabinet is over, people will be starting screaming because there are 400 guilders. They will receive 400 guilders, but they will be able only to buy 200 guilders? No, 100 guilders of food. So imagine 7,000 people receiving 400 guilders, that they are only able to buy 400. So that is why you need to have a strategy with Bitcoin, with diversification, and with production. That's why we want to have all these people which are unemployed, those 5,000 people, we want to have them in the workforce, earning more money. We want to have them work with artificial intelligence agents. We want to have them educated. Not only the 5,000 people that we saw at the beginning of this episode that are unemployed, but we also want the 7,000 people that are receiving 400 guilders. We want them to be productive. We don't want them to work in the informal sector and the government not earning any money. You see? That's why you need artificial intelligence, you need Bitcoin, you need to attract capital from outside, you need to have a strategy for your debt. Now, looking at this, you will see that here we can run all kinds of simulation. I can run that scenario for you for inflation of 50%. If you don't believe that, let's run it for 10%. But you will see the same impact. I'm not going to say that it's going to be 50%, but I'm just going to show you that what if. I'm not going to tell you anything what to do. The only thing I'm going to suggest to you is, what if this happens? Have you thought about that? Now let's look at the economy. What happens with the interest rate? If the United States increases their interest rates, then 6 months later, the Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin will have to increase their interest rates. If they increase their interest rates, your companies here on Curacao will suffer. So what is happening in the United States will happen in Curacao, St. Martin, because we are back to that economy. It is not possible that the central bank here will stay low, while in the United States, their interest rate go up. So that's why I'm studying the United States. That's why I'm creating the macroeconomic model of the United States to analyze what's happening so that I can advise the Caribbean, Curacao in this case. So wage bill. If you increase the wage bill, what will happen with the economy? Because it's an open economy, you increase the wage bill and it will flow out as consumption. So you will stimulate the economy right away, but ultimately, because we don't produce a lot here, it will flow out and your foreign reserves, the dollars that you earn, will go away. So if we look at the model and we look at the economy, and this is the last part, we have the fiscal sector, all these indicators, revenues, we can change all these indicators. We have the real sector, which is the consumption, investments of the governments, investment by the government. You see here the investment of the government, that is about 125 million guilders, while the investment of the businesses, that's 2.3 billion. So the local investments of the governments are small compared to the investments of the private sector. The investment of the private sector are investments in hotels, investments in commercial real estate, investment in buying equipment, all those things, exports. So that's what you see. And then the fiscal sector, you see all. What's the government doing? Then you see the external sector, how we are trading, tourism, non-tourism. So you see all the export is actually, most of it is tourism. Exports of goods and services, most of it is tourism. And then there is one non-tourism export, which is transportation, etc. Imports, very high. Imports higher than exports for Curacao. Monetary sector, interest, and we're going to dive more into the monetary sector because we want to understand how is money printing, what is happening there. Consumer price, labor market that we just saw, how many people are working, employment, unemployment, you see that? Unemployment. Yeah, it's going a lot. And then we have the tourism sector. So what I want to show you here is the tourism sector that basically in 2024 we had an extremely high growth of 20% of the number of stayover, which are people that stay here for 10 days. Then we have the cruise, which is about, we have 701,000 stayover. If we go back, it was much lower in 2010. You see here, in 2010 we had about 342, And basically it doubled. In 15 years, it doubled. So that's what you see here. 342 to a great 701 stayover. If you want to look at cruise went from 383, and these numbers are from the statistical office, official numbers, from the Curacao Tourism Development Board. I didn't put these numbers in fake numbers. These are official numbers. It went from 383 to what? 835. So if we want to look at how much did the tourism grow, the stayover grow in the last years, it grew by 287% in the last 15 years. That's remarkable. And then if you have the stayover, if we summarize all these things from 2010 onwards, you see that we grew by 142%. So cruise grew 280, almost 3, and then stayover grew 150%. But in the future, we are taking about a 3% growth because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So we are a little bit cautious. But because this tourism grew a lot, that means that you get, where are you in the cycle? Because we already know that Aruba, St. Martin, they are in a way where tourism is having negative effect on, for instance, the environment, on scarcity of land, on pollution, etc. Because all those tourists, they have to go to the toilet. That will be put into your soil. That will be put into your coral reefs, in your water. The tourists, if they are, for instance, working here, you will import plastic, you will import, produce pollution, you will produce waste, and you have to have a plan. You will need more electricity if there are more tourism. That's why we want to diversify away from tourism. And I showed you how you can diversify into software, into Bitcoin, into financial services. I want to tell you last thing, which is, I know a lot about the Bitcoin economy. I know that there are people with a decentralized apps, creating decentralized apps on top of Bitcoin. So you have Bitcoin is the layer, the new layer of money. Layer 2, you have Lightning, which is fast payment, faster than maybe credit cards, faster than PayPal. You don't need PayPal anymore for the Caribbean because now you have Lightning. We have been asking for PayPal to come to Curacao and it was not possible. We got CXPay, we got credit card, we are happy with that, but now we got Lightning. I can receive Lightning payment instantly. And every business in Curacao can receive Lightning payment instantly. And that is, for instance, up till $1,000, you can get instantly an invoice. Nobody can stop you. You create an invoice, you create an app, you manage that wallet, and then boom, you get it. If you are interested in that as a business in the Caribbean, doesn't work only for Curacao, call me, contact me. Then, what you will see is that we can tap to that new economy. So, thank you very much. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be sending this to LinkedIn, Island Wealth on my profile, on Facebook, Island Wealth, on YouTube, Island Wealth, and on Nostr, which is a decentralized social media, and you will be seeing this episode. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to show you one last dashboard of indicators, because I like to end with a great boom. You see here the indicators. What kind of indicators do we have? We have a lot of indicators here. Look at this. All the key indicators of the economy. We have all these indicators, and when we run a simulation, you will see that change. And this is available for all the Eastern Caribbean islands. We can combine that to the whole Eastern Caribbean currency union, and we can see the picture, and we can add Turks and Caicos to that. We can add Curacao, we can add St. Martin, Jamaica, so that we have Caribbean 12 islands. Imagine that economy. So if you want to do those scenarios, compare Curacao to other islands in the region. If you want to have one session of St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbuda, Grenada, Turks and Caicos, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Dominica, Montserrat, call me. So thank you very much, and I'm going out. Remember the offer that I have, because the United States economy is really the economy you wanna look at. So this is the last time to check it out. bit.ly USA macro investment model. It's an investment model because we are interested to become wealthy, island wealth. Remember that. You too can become wealthy. You don't have to be poor, remain poor. If you are a politician, you care about island wealth for your people. This is it. Click there and join my 16-week experience, and it's going to be open soon, and we're going to have only 50 spots in there. It will be a paid experience, and you will have the whole model running for you as soon as we have built it, and you will know the BRICS also, how United States is looking towards the BRICS. So that is it. I'm going out now. See you.